right through that BS. So that's what we can do for the Ford Maverick. Now, folks, we've got to talk about the Ford Bronco. Ford Bronco is fantastic. We're on our third, and this one we've got a wild track, and we are really truly thinking that this is going to be the one that we keep. I've now had it since July. I have no desire to switch it in any way whatsoever. The wild track Bronco is perfect for us. If anything, I'm almost tempted to pick up this Badlands Bronco, and oddly, we've had it for a little over a month. We've had it for sale for like 6-7 weeks, folks. We've got big news here. So WTF is going on with the Ford Bronco. And what do I mean by WTF? I mean what the Ford is going on with the Ford Bronco. So no swearing on this channel. We try to keep it wholesome. At times we wish certain elements were more like they were in the 1950s, especially when it comes to the price of groceries and how one individual could support an entire family with a house, a car, and the grocery bill, really everything, financially supported by one individual. And now two individuals have trouble supporting just each other and no kids. Things have gotten out of control, but the Ford Bronco will keep you under control when you're in out of control situations. Let's talk about how you can get one. Let's talk about what you can expect for delays and order times, pricing. Let's talk about the Ford Bronco. First of all, I want to say that it is fantastic in staying under control in hard to control situations. It is an absolute blast to drive at high speeds, whether you're on the highway, whether you're in town in a really like slow speeds in town, and horrible bumps. We have that, if we go into Montreal, we've driven around in Montreal with the Ford Bronco and we were blown away by the fact that we just had a fantastic drive, even though we were driving in some of the worst city streets in North America. Even drove up on a sidewalk with it when I was in Montreal, but we've also blown down good speeds on the beach. We've gone through forest roads. We've taken our Bronco off-roading. We've done the Bronco off-rodeo twice, but we've done a good amount of high-speed Bronco off-roading, and just the dirt roads in the mountains here can be really rough. And the Bronco stays under control at these high speeds. And it's the big difference with the Jeep. The Jeep is better at crawling, but the Bronco does an amazing job nonetheless. We're talking about the difference between, let's say, 9.5 out of 10 and a 10. But when it comes to on-road driving, either as a daily or just high-speed driving across forest roads or high-speed off-roading, the Bronco is unbeatable. There's none of this left, right being pulled because you're going through bumps. The suspension it's independent, all four wheels, and the suspension just eats it all up so you can hold the steering wheel and go in a straight line. So you don't feel the steering wheel. If the road's beating up your Bronco, it's only going to be beating up the suspension. It's not going to be beating you up via or through the steering wheel rack. A Jeep, you will get beat up. If the road's beating up your Jeep, it's going to beat up your suspension, it's going to shake through the frame, and it's going to shake through the whole steering. And you're going to have to work really hard to keep that Jeep going in a straight line when you're going at a decent speed over bumps, whether they're highway bumps or off-road, forest road, gravel road bumps. You're going to have a little more trouble. Now, what's going on with the Ford Bronco? Well, one way to look at it is prices are not going up significantly. We can also say prices are going up significantly because the base model is gone. Big Bend for 2024 is now the new base model. So if you wanted a base, yes, prices for you are increasing tremendously. But, for the rest of us, nice little Ford Authority article from January 1st, 2024. Brett Foote, thank you very much. I covered this also, of course. I covered this back in, I think, September, if I recall correctly, across many videos. But for the big part, most models are going up by $200, but we get a 12-inch screen. All the models come with marine grade vinyl now, and washable floors for, if I recall, all models, except I think the Outer Banks is still carpeted flooring and the Wild Track, but the other models like Big Ben, you got the washable floors, or at least rubberized floors. Please, in the comment section, let me know. Now, we really like marine grade vinyl. So the cloth, some of you will be upset and sad because the cloth is gone. It's out. You're gonna have marine grade vinyl seating, but we had that on one of the three Broncos, and it's still Marie's favorite. We had the Badlands and marine grade vinyl, 8-inch screen, no heated seats, no keyless entry. So that's why we ended up getting the second Bronco. The WB, no cocktails for me this evening because I had a few too many cocktails on Friday, and now I'm going to give that liver a break. And I started this show late because I ate some seafood I probably should not have eaten, and I'm a little rough right now. But the Wild Track is a big consideration because remember in 2023 the Wild Track got the Haas, or maybe it was 2022, but the Wild Track now comes with Haas 3.0. It's almost the suspension. It's not quite the suspension that you get on the Raptor, the Ford Bronco Raptor. So that's basically Haas 4.0, and you got your Haas, 2.0 on all your Sasquatch models. So it's fantastic, but I could live without it. So now the Wild Track, you're going to be spending almost 10 grand more than you would on a Badlands. So a nicely equipped Wild Track, 83 Canadian, Haas 3.0, fantastic suspension. It is incredible at eating bumps. It's great. But there's nothing wrong with our Badlands Bronco or our Outer Banks Sasquatch, both Haas 2.0, and it does the job. So I'm not here to try to talk anyone into spending as much money as possible. I'd just say that any Sasquatch package is an amazing vehicle. Also, Bucko here just saying the vinyl seats are great for cleaning with the little kids. Such a good point, Bucko. We found it was great with the dogs. We had the dogs. Lily threw up on the seat a few times. She was getting car sick on the way down to Florida, probably just because she was anxious, not used to not being in the vehicle. So yes, great point, M. Peugeot. Some Badlands, of course, will come with the higher grade Haas because it's Badlands Bronco automatically gets the Sasquatch suspension. It gets Haas 2.0. So the Badlands non-Sasquatch is an incredible deal. And Wild Track, it's like, hey, should you really spend an extra 10 grand for a Wild Track? Well, I'd say you could look at it as it's a bad deal. It's so much better of a deal to get a Badlands because you got the Sasquatch suspension and you can live with 33s. Instead of the almost 35s that you get with the Sasquatch package. But I see the Wild Track as a budget Raptor without these huge fender flares, which I think only look good if you get them on black. And I think Ford also realized that people weren't having that matte black plastic because now you can get them, I guess now they're painted, which I think they always needed to be. So some changes for the Ford Bronco, but what's the big news about the Ford Bronco? I feel the huge news. Let's head back to those photos. The huge news is, we've got, at this point, we had 2 out back, 2 up front, and 1 in the showroom, 5. And now we've put all 4 of them, except for the one in the showroom, up front. So now here you can see we had 3. One's kind of hiding back there, and it's kind of it's a lighter color. It's cactus. So you're not, or white. We're not seeing it very much, but it's white. It's back there. So you've got 3 Broncos right here. We had 1 on the back hill and 1 in the showroom. So 5 Broncos for sale, and they are not moving all that fast. And I know they're moving more so in the States, but in Canada with Broncos being available, you should absolutely in Canada be able to get one of these at MSRP. No one should be charging dealer fees, dock fees, administration fees, or market uptake. I'd say if you're in the States and if you're in an area where no matter how many phone calls you make, the ones that are available are still well over MSRP, you can always work on getting a Canadian Bronco. Just work away at getting a Canadian Bronco because we'll have used ones. The trade-in prices on Broncos has dropped significantly. It's dropped significantly, tremendously on all vehicles, but it has dropped significantly. We're not taking in on trade 1-year-old Broncos for sticker price. So you always have the option to get a Canadian Bronco with a little bit of mileage on it. You should be able to get a great price on that. And I think if you're willing to call across the United States, you will come across a few Broncos. But the fact that Ford is now going to be slowing down sending Broncos to Canadian dealers. There's going to be, I think you're going to be all right if you order one up. I don't think we're talking about a 2-year wait anymore. Just try to avoid things like ordering it with mud flaps or the PP protective paint film. Just try to, go with a straight Sasquatch or a straight Badlands. Don't add in extra little factory accessories like mats and mud flaps, mud guards, paint protection, clear paint protection, tape. Avoid the little extras. And I think that we're going to start seeing some very, very reasonable times unless you order up something that's known to be rare. So what are the rare models? Well, your rare models. Ford Bronco Raptor. That's a rare one. Most dealers will get 0 to maybe 4 if they're a huge dealer. We're only getting 1 per year. Avoid the limited heritage edition. Even it might be a little hard and a little bit of a wait to get your standard heritage edition, the non-limited. And I can't confirm this, but Everglades might be a bit of a wait. I'm not hearing that Ford's got, the full valves open on this and they'll produce as many that get ordered. But it's a model definitely worth considering. I think the 2.3 liter is a good engine, and Peugeot has thoroughly tested it out. He goes by it. I did a test drive on one recently. It's a very, very good engine. I like how the 6-cylinder twin-turbo 2.7 liter is both port injected and direct injected, if I recall correctly. The 2.3 liter is only direct injected. Marine Vet Tim has several Broncos sitting at, thank you so much, Marine Vet. Really good to know that Tim, the Ford video guy, so that's Tim Bartz at Long MacArthur Ford. If you're in the States, he's got some Ford Broncos to sell. He's also a dealer that has had a great amount of success because they're a dealer that is honest and fair with people, and that's the type of dealer that Ford wants to send units to. If you're fair and good to your clients, you have a really good customer review base, and as such you sell a lot, well, Ford, that's Ford's number one target for sending vehicles to. I think that's part of the reason why we most of the time get everything that we want. We generally ask for something and we get it. Of course, we're asking for a Ford Ranger Raptor because we've got 3 or 4 ordered in the system. Mine's the first. I'll likely get bypassed by some customers, but we're still only going to get 1 Raptor for the entire year. And so far, I haven't seen any Ford Raptors actually get scheduled. However, Ford Rangers standard, that's the XL, let's say an XLT with a 2.3 liter engine. I have already seen some build dates for that. Our dealer has a build date for that. And on the forums I follow and in our community, people are letting me know. For example, someone recently told me that their Ranger XLT 2.3 liter is scheduled for, I believe they said the 26th of February. So production will be back on the Ford Bronco. And for your Ford Bronco, if you order one up, you can find one on a dealer lot. But if you do order one up, of course, make sure that the dealer has allotments that they're going to be getting Ford Broncos in. Find out where you are on their waiting list so that you can know, ask them how many you're going to get for the year. Where am I on your list? So if they say they're getting 10 for the year and you're number 30, find another dealer and make sure that the dealer will sign the build sheet and will sign a purchase or lease offer that shows the price of the vehicle with the interest rate, and that they sign it. So then you have their signature. Make sure you have a copy. So you now have a copy of how much they said that they would sell you the vehicle to. Keep all that paperwork, folks. Don't just think, don't just count and expect the dealer to do everything in your favor and will do everything to take care of you and make you happy. Yes, some dealers do work like that, and some dealers do not. So in every profession, there's good workers and bad workers, honest workers and dishonest workers. Plan for the worst and be happy if you get the best. Now, we've talked about the Ford Bronco. Let's see if we've got any questions about the Ford Bronco before we move on so that I can do my best to answer you, of course. So, Oh, sorry, M Peugeot does not have a 2.3 liter Bronco. Sorry, I thought with the times you've told me that the 2.3 liter is enough. I thought that one of your Broncos had been a 2.3 M Peugeot. So thank you very much for, my memory isn't always perfect. Actually, it rarely is perfect, so sorry for that. Well, as Ford Bronco questions come in, I'll just start getting the photos ready now for our next segment, which is going to be on new